Okay, we have Warren Farrell, PhD, on the line with us. He is the author of a new book called The Boy Crisis: Why Our Boys Are Struggling and What We Can Do About It. Thanks for joining me, Warren. And I want to start with a question about your theory of why we're seeing so many acts of school shootings and other acts of terrorism in this profile of young males who are the culprits in this. Tell me why you think we're seeing that.
If I were to use one word, the word would be fatherlessness. Dad-deprived boys. All over the world where there are divorces tend to lead to a lack of father involvement. Where there's a lack of father involvement, boys are in what I would call the boy crisis mode. Why then is there more shootings over here than there are in other countries? For a number of reasons. One is all the boys who have been involved in school shootings have been in families that are fatherless, or minimal amount of father involvement. So you have Adam Lanza, that was true of, and Sandy Hook. You have Elliot Rogers, that was true of, coming from a broken family. We see this with Nicholas Cruz. We see this with Dylan Roof of the Charleston Church. When there's a loss of father, there's a loss of the ability to channel the testosterone that males show during their adolescent years. And with the exception of Columbine, all these shootings were in the adolescent years. And so we have this type of lack of channeling of testosterone by the father and when testosterone is not channeled well, you have it becoming destructive energy. And so that's what you see with the school shooters, is the destructive male testosterone energy. Now, why then more shootings here? Because there's more guns here that are high volume guns that can be used more differently. So you have the underlying mental health problem. You have the underlying gap between heroic intelligence and health intelligence, which has always been able to be filled by people having in the society at large a larger sense of purpose. I'm a hero if I'm a warrior. I'm a hero if I'm a sole breadwinner. Now there's not so much need for the hero as a sole breadwinner or the hero as a warrior. And so there's a lot of purpose void among boys today. And so purpose void combined with fatherlessness tends to leave a lack of the ability of a boy to have his testosterone constructively channeled rather than well channeled.
Okay, that resonates with me. So what do we do about it? It's easy to sort of point to the symptoms, but you've offered some solutions. Tell us a little bit about that.
My solution, if I were president, is to get fathers involved. Let's get fathers involved in PTAs. Let's get our sons trained from kindergarten, first grade on, to think of themselves as having one of their most honorable roles, be a future father. Let's train our daughters to know what is valuable about a father's input. Why is roughhousing so important to distinguishing between assertiveness versus aggressiveness? That's one of the contributions of roughhousing. How does roughhousing allow the dad to leverage the roughhousing into earlier bedtimes and finishing homework? What is the value of boundary enforcement that dads tend to have? What's the value of teasing that dads tend to do? Now, the good news is that mothers can do all these things, but the bad news is that the child ultimately looks in the mirror and says, who am I? And who he is half his dad and half his mom. So when he looks in his mirror and if he hears negative things about his dad, or he thinks his dad abandoned him, or doesn't see him as much as he would like to see his dad, he fears that he is not worthy, that he has just been rejected. And these things haunt a boy. So we see all over the world where there is a boy crisis. It's not with all boys. It's with boys more than for any other reason who are without their dads. But in the United States, it's magnified because our guns magnify the mental health problem. It allows the boy who is already troubled to have access to a way of destroying an enormous number of people in a short period of time. And that, combined with the glorification of guns in the culture, leads to that being a way that these problems manifest, where the boy feels, once in my life I can make a difference, once in my life I can feel heard, once in my life I can be seen. And this is a deep sadness, and it's a mental health problem, but it needs to be addressed by the involvement of dads in many ways. We can do it through organizations that already exist. Cub Scouts are proven to have boys who spend 2 or more years in Cub Scouts to be boys who have a great deal better character, a great deal more happiness, a great deal more of hopefulness, more integrity, more loyalty. These are all characteristics that come out of Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. We now know this. We have the Mankind Project has programs for young boys who can be involved in constructive ways of channeling their testosterone. But we need to we need to have more male teachers in elementary schools. We need to basically take, if I were president, I would say, if a community has, let's say, 70% a lack of fathers, which is what is true of the African American inner city community, then let's have 70% male teachers from elementary school, not only elementary school, but also in nursery school, so that the boy has constructive male role models from a very early age, so that he doesn't have to go from a mom-dominated family to a female-dominated school, and then the first male that he has to sort of look up to is a gang leader.
Thank you, Warren. I think everybody needs to hear this, and we need to start having a serious, less emotional, and more clinical conversation about how to solve this problem together. Thank you again.